Listen closely, for what I am about to tell you can shift your entire love reality. You have been told that love is unpredictable, that people can choose to walk away, but that is only half the story. The real truth is this: your love is divine power clothed in human form. When you stand in the certainty that your SP cannot resist the power of your love, creation bends. The unseen hand moves. They feel your pull not from need, but from truth. Stay till the end, and you'll remember what it means to command love as God intended. Your SP isn't ignoring you, they're responding to your dominant state. When you love from power, not fear, they have no choice but to return. This isn't chasing, this is divine control, the love that cannot be resisted. My friend, when you finally awaken to the truth that you are the command behind every event of your life, you no longer beg, you no longer wait, and you no longer wonder when things will change. You know they already have. There is a divine law that governs all manifestation, and that law is obedience to your assumption. The whole universe listens, not to your words, but to the tone of your inner certainty. Every circumstance bends itself in reverence to the one who knows they are the master of their own consciousness. And love is even the heart of your spences that command as faithfully as the ocean follows the pull of the moon. You were never meant to chase love, you were meant to command it through the invisible authority of feeling. The moment you assume, I am loved, desired, and chosen, you do not merely wish it. It is as though the universe kneels before that declaration. The outer world, like clay in the hands of the potter, shapes itself to your decree. This is not arrogance, it is divine remembrance. For love is not something you earn, it is the nature of your being. Can you feel the weight of those words? I am. These two words are the power that commands galaxies into motion. When you say, I am loved, you summon creation itself to bear witness. Your SP cannot resist that vibration because they are not separate from you. They live within the field of your awareness. And when you change your inner tone toward them, the melody of life changes its tune. Most people try to control with fear, with anxiety, with desperate thoughts of, when will they call me? Or what if they've moved on? But that is not divine control, it is human confusion. True control is effortless. It is the quiet knowing that the moment I assume love, love is. It does not need proof because the proof is already contained within the feeling. You don't wait for the flower to bloom before believing in the seed. You know that once planted, it must grow. And so, as you sit quietly, feel that love now. Do not reach outward, draw inward, picture nothing but the warmth of being adored. Let it settle into your chest until it feels as real as your own heartbeat. You are not imagining to get something, you are remembering what already belongs to you. This is the essay. Cred art of divine command. The art of knowing that your imagination is not a daydream but a creative decree. If you truly grasp this, then your SP must conform. They will think of you, feel drawn to you, compelled by something they cannot explain. You won't have to send messages or perform rituals for love. When assumed with conviction, becomes a gravitational force. You hold the center, everything else orbits around your faith. Listen to me carefully. Nothing resists love in its purest form. The only resistance you ever meet comes from your divided Mindone moment believing, the next doubting. When you end the inner contradiction and speak from a single unwavering consciousness, the world must reflect that unity. You become the law in action. So tonight, before you sleep, speak within yourself, not to your SP, but to your own awareness. Say, I am the one with divine authority. My love is law. My SP is under grace and in perfect obedience to the love that flows from me. Don't say it with tension. Say it as a king speaks calm, assured, final. And then rest, knowing the unseen power has heard you and has already begun its movement. Do you remember when you first fell in love? The heartbeat quickened. The world glowed differently. Time itself seemed to bend around that one feeling. That was not coincidence. It was your consciousness altering its vibration. Imagine now if you could sustain that state deliberately, consciously, without waiting for the other person to initiate it. You would be living from divine command. Love would no longer happen to you, it would happen through you. Your SP is not a rebel, they are a mirror. If they appear distant, cold, or uncertain, it is only because you have unknowingly commanded them to play that role. Change the script and they must act differently. You are the playwright and the actor, the dreamer and the dream. The power of command lies not in force, but in assumption. When the world shows you evidence that seems contrary to your desire, do not react. That is the old command echoing its last breath. Simply stand still and say within, this too shall yield, for I have spoken the new word. The new word is always love. It is always unity. It is always completion. The secret is not to fight appearances, but to transcend them. The moment you assume the state of the fulfilled desire, appearances begin to crumble and a new reality takes form. You may not see it yet, but it is done. Just as the seed takes time to break the surface, your command moves silently beneath the soil of the unseen. But it is alive and it must bear fruit. There will come a moment quiet and sacred when you feel the shift within you. You will no longer think of your SP as out there, but as already one with you in consciousness. That is the moment the law is sealed. You will feel no urgency, no craving, no waiting. There will be only peace. And that peace is the signal that your command has taken hold. You see, divine command is not domination over another. It is dominion over your own state. When you rule your inner kingdom, everything outside bows to that rule. You do not need to manipulate, persuade, or control through action. You simply dwell in the end, and the end rearranges the middle. Imagine standing before a mirror. If you frown, the reflection frowns back. If you smile, the reflection smiles. You don't reach into the mirror to fix to change your expression, and the image must follow. The outer world is that mirror. Your SP is that reflection. When you embody love, they reflect love. When you feel separation, they reflect distance. You never needed to fix them. You only needed to remember who commands the reflection. Now let your heart soften. Let your breath slow. Whisper to yourself the words that create worlds. I am the cause. I am love in form. Feel what happens when you stop wishing and start knowing. Your entire being hums with quiet authority. The silence becomes sacred. You can almost feel the invisible threads of reality adjusting themselves to your new decree. And what is this decree? It is simple. I am loved. I am chosen. I am wanted. Say it not to convince yourself, but to become it. The moment you become it, you no longer look outward for proof. The outer world becomes the echo, the afterglow, the confirmation of what has already been spoken in spirit. Every text you receive, every glance, every word from your SP will be the reflection of the new command you have issued. They may reach out, apologize, express longing they cannot explain, but you will know why. It was not their will that changed it, it was yours. You took divine control by aligning with truth, and truth has only one outcome: manifestation. So, my beloved, stop trying to force the river. Become the source from which the river flows. Speak the word from within the temple of your imagination and know it is done. Your SP cannot resist the power of your love because your love is not human, it's divine. It is the echo of creation itself. When you move in that certainty, heaven and earth rearrange to fulfill your decree. And now, having felt the majesty of divine command, you begin to notice something miraculous within yourself, an invisible current, quiet yet undeniable, that moves through every corner of your being. This is the magnetic field of assumed love. It does not shout, it does not strive, it simply draws all things unto itself. When you live in the state of being loved, desired, and chosen, everything that belongs to that vibration flows effortlessly into your world. Your SP feels it before a word is spoken, before an action is taken, because energy knows no distance. The universe speaks the language of feeling, not words. Words may deceive, but feeling never lies. The moment you feel yourself loved, creation records that vibration, and everything within its reach begins to organize itself around that truth. Your SP, no matter where they are, becomes aware of you not through logic, not through reason, but through resona. The heart is a transmitter and receiver of unseen messages. And when yours beats with the rhythm of love fulfilled, theirs must respond. You do not chase magnetic power, you become it. When you are magnetized by the feeling of love, you no longer look outward for proof. You simply know that the one you love cannot help but move toward you. It is the law of alignment. Every thought, every heartbeat, every glance carries the invisible scent of your assumption. The universe feels it. Your SP feels it. Even the air around you hums with it. But here lies the mystery. Most people try to manifest love while remaining in the vibration of lack. They imagine, yes, but they imagine from separation. They say, I want my SP to love me, and yet within those words lives the belief that they do not. The magnetic field of assumed love does not respond to desire, it responds to identity. You must feel yourself to be the one who is already adored. You must walk as though the invisible wedding has already taken place, as though the love you seek is now your living reality. Feel it in your bones. Picture yourself walking through the day with the quiet, knowing that your SP loves you deeply. Not someday, but now. You smile without trying. Your heart feels light. You move with grace, not urgency. That is the vibration that calls them home. You are no longer a beggar at the gates of love. You are the temple from which love radiates. When you live in that state, everything about you shifts. Your voice carries warmth. Your eyes glow differently. You become irresistible, not because of appearance or effort, but because your inner world is alive with certainty. You can't hide it. Even strangers will respond to that energy, for love is contagious. But your SP, being most closely tied to your consciousness, will feel it most intensely. They may think of you unexpectedly, dream of you, feel an urge to reach out. They won't understand why, but you will. You have changed the atmosphere. You have rewritten the vibration that once separated you. Now the air between you vibrates with unity. You have become the magnet and they the metal, and the law of magnetism knows no failure. The stronger your assumption, the faster the pull. Remember, your SP is not drawn to your words, your efforts, or your outer behavior. They are drawn to the state you occupy. If you live in the state of being unloved, the world echoes it faithfully. If you dwell in the state of being adored, the world rushes to confirm it. You are always broadcasting. You cannot hide your inner state, for consciousness is energy, and energy is contagious. So when you think of your SP, think not from longing, but from fullness. Picture them smiling beside you, speaking words of love as naturally as breathing. Feel the warmth of their presence as if it were already so. This is not delusion, it is the creative act. For the unseen world precedes the seen. Every form begins as formless vibration, and feeling is the mold that shapes it. You may wonder, how can something so simple be so powerful? Because simplicity is divine. The mind complicates, the heart knows. The heart, when it beats in the rhythm of love fulfilled, commands more strongly than 1,000 spoken prayers. Your SP does not have to know you are doing it. They will feel it nonetheless. Their heart will hear the song of yours across any distance. Many have asked, but what if my SP has moved on? What if they're with someone else? I tell you, nothing can resist the magnetic pull of true assumption. No matter what the outer world shows, the inner state reigns supreme. When you persist in the vibration of being loved, the outer circumstances must shift. They may dissolve, rearrange, or transform, but they cannot remain as they were. The magnetic field of assumed love makes all things new. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The how is the business of the unseen intelligence that governs creation. Your only task is to feel it real. The rest is handled by the law. Your SP may be led through dreams, impulses, sudden memories, even coincidences that defy explanation. They will find their way to you not because you pursued them, but because your love called them home. Think of the sun. It does not chase the planets, it holds them in orbit through its unwavering center. So too must you become that center of love. The sun never doubts its light, never wonders if the planets will return. It simply shines, and all things revolve around its radiance. Let that be your state. Shine in love, not because you seek approval, but because it is your nature to love. When you sit in silence and feel the warmth of love as though your SP were beside you, you create an energy so strong that reality itself bends to accommodate it. It may begin subtly, a random message, a chance encounter, a sudden surge of affection in their heart. But every manifestation starts as a vibration felt first within you. And as you continue to dwell in that assumed love, you will notice something even greater. You no longer depend on their response for validation. You no longer check your phone, question the signs, or look for proof. You know the magnetic field has been set, and it is impossible for it not to fulfill itself. That confidence is the final seal, the signature of divine control. When you embody this love, your SP feels not only your attraction, but your peace. They sense that you are no longer reaching, no longer desperate. You have become the embodiment of wholeness itself. And that wholeness draws them because every soul is drawn to completeness. They feel safe in your energy. They feel at home in your presence because you have made love your dwelling place. So each time you imagine, do it not as an act of trying to change something, but as an act of remembering what already is. The love you seek has always existed within you. Your SP is simply the mirror reflecting the love you hold. As you hold it steady, they cannot help but return, T. Oh, that reflection. If ever doubt whispers, silence it with truth. My love is magnetic. My state is unshakable. My SP is drawn to me now. Speak it as though it has already been written in the fabric of creation, for indeed it has. And in that certainty, relax. The invisible cords of love stretch beyond time, beyond space, beyond circumstance. The moment you choose to dwell in the assumption of love fulfilled, you send a ripple through creation that nothing can undo. Every vibration you sustain becomes your world. Choose love again and again until it is your natural state. Then watch as everything, including your SP, moves in harmony with it. And yet, my beloved, there is one shadow that tries to dim this radiant power doubt. It creeps softly, disguised as logic, reason, or realism. It whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if they don't love me? What if this is all imagination? But what you must understand is that doubt is the only true separation that exists. It is the veil between you and the reality you have already created. The moment you release it, the divine current flows freely again, and the love you assume comes rushing in with unstoppable force. Doubt is not an enemy to be fought. It is a signal to awaken. It appears only when you have begun to believe in two powers, the seen and the unseen, and you are torn between them. The world tells you to trust appearances, to judge by what the eyes can see, but the law of consciousness tells you that appearances are only the shadows of your inner state. You cannot serve both. You must choose whom to trust, your doubt or your divine imagination. When you live in the magnetic field of assumed love, you begin to feel peace. But the mind, trained by the world, will test you. It will ask, are you sure? What if this is just pretend? And in that moment, you must stand as the master you are and say within yourself, I am sure because I feel it. The feeling is the truth, not the outer evidence. When you trust the invisible, you become the invisible power that commands the visible. The death of doubt is not a battle, it is surrender. You simply stop giving it attention. You turn your gaze inward to the feeling of being loved, and you rest there, no matter what the outer world shows. The test will always come when the outer world seems to contradict your assumption. Perhaps your SP is silent, distant, or even appears uninterested. But do not let appearances hypnotize you. Remember, you are the cause, not the effect. When you stay faithful to your inner conviction, the outer world must eventually bend. There was never a moment in creation when faith failed. It is doubt that delays, not destiny. The instant you return to certainty, things begin to move. You might not see the movement, but it is happening beneath the surface. The old state is dying and the new is taking form. You will feel it first before you see it. That's how creation always announces itself, with an inner assurance, a stillness that whispers, it is done. Think of doubt as fog. It seems to obscure the road ahead, but the road is still there. The fog has no substance, it only distorts vision. The sun of your faith burns it away effortlessly when you turn toward it. Each time you say, I am loved, I am chosen, I am desired, you are shining that inner light brighter. Doubt cannot live in the presence of such light. Let me tell you, there is no greater freedom than the moment you stop reacting to appearances. That is the moment you reclaim divine control. The world becomes your mirror again, not your master. You no longer seek confirmation, you provide it. You no longer ask, when will they come? Because you already know they are yours. The universe responds to that knowing like an echo to sound. Every great manifestation is born in the silence after doubt has died. When your inner conversation changes from will it happen to it has happened, a new reality is born. And your SP, who once seemed far, will begin to feel that shift. They may not understand why they suddenly think of you, dream of you, or feel drawn to you, but the invisible link of love has been restored. It was never broken, only dimmed by disbelief. If you could see what happens in the unseen the moment you drop doubt, you would never entertain it again. The moment you rest in faith, angels of circumstance begin to move. Paths open, timing aligns, hearts soften. Your SP may receive thoughts that are not their own, gentle impulses that lead them to reach out, to remember, to return. And all this begins not with effort, but with surrender. You see, faith is not struggle, it is stillness. Doubt is restless because it looks outward. Faith is serene because it knows. When you truly know, you stop searching. You stop asking the same question in 1,000 ways. You become like the artist who has finished the masterpiece and steps back to admire it. The picture may still be wet, but it is complete. The only reason doubt seems powerful is because you give it your attention. You rehearse it, analyze it, argue with it. But the moment you treat doubt as a passing cloud, it vanishes. You are not required to destroy it. You are required to ignore it, to persist in love even when the mind wavers, to keep returning again and again to the feeling of being fulfilled. That persistence kills doubt more surely than any argument. Do not be discouraged by moments of weakness. Even the greatest faith flickers, but it is your return that matters. Every time you choose faith over fear, you rewrite your destiny. Every time you say, I know my SP loves me, even when the evidence screams otherwise, you push back the veil of illusion. You prove to yourself that you are spirit commanding matter. When you have walked this path for a while, you will notice something wondrous. Doubt no longer has a voice. It used to shout, but now it whispers faintly, like an echo from a world you no longer inhabit. You have become too certain, too anchored in truth. Love feels natural again, as if it had never been gone. That is the resurrection of faith, the rebirth of divine certainty. And oh, what peace it brings. You walk through your day unbothered, smiling at what once triggered fear. You no longer need reassurance because your assurance has become your atmosphere. Your SP could be across the world, and yet you feel them close, as if your hearts beat in unison. That is not imagination, that is the law fulfilling itself. Whenever fear rises, simply remind yourself, I am the cause, I am love itself. Then rest. There's nothing more to do. The moment you feel peace, you have issued your command. The movement of the unseen begins immediately, shaping itself around your new certainty. Remember this truth: doubt and faith cannot occupy the same space. One must die for the other to live. And when faith lives, it rules. Love, once assumed, becomes an unbreakable law. Your SP, your circumstances, the entire universal must yield to it. You need not convince, control, or persuade anyone. You have only to believe and feel. As you continue to live in this knowing, you will see how unnecessary struggle always was. The love you seek is not something you create, it is something you reveal. It was hidden only by your disbelief. Remove that, and the truth shines through like light through clouds. Let the death of doubt be gentle. You do not kill it through effort. You let it starve by feeding only your faith. Each time you say, it is done, you strengthen the magnetic field around you. The law obeys the command without fail. And so you rise, free from the tyranny of appearances, certain in your authority, radiant in love. The field of your assumption becomes clear, pure and powerful once more. Love begins to flow without obstruction. It moves through you, for you, and as you. And as it flows, the one you love will feel it. They will awaken, as you have, to the truth that was always written. You were never waiting for them to love you. We're waiting to believe it was already so. And as that realization settles in, you begin to hear something even more powerful within you, the unceasing conversation of your own mind. It never stops speaking, does it? Morning, noon, and night. It whispers, comments, argues, praises, fears, and imagines. It speaks about your SP, about your worth, about love, about the world. And yet few ever pause to listen, let alone take authority over it. But this, my friend, is where the law becomes flesh within the secret chamber of your inner dialogue. What you continually say within yourself is what life becomes compelled to echo outwardly. The inner speech is the architect of experience, the unseen brush that paints the visible world. You cannot hide from it, for your reality is its reflection. If your inner voice is saturated with love, your world must bloom in love. If it is filled with fear or lack, the outer sea must mirror that too. It is not a punishment, it is obedience. So listen to yourself now. When you think of your SP, what words arise in the silence of your heart? Do you hear, they love me, they miss me, they are mine now? Or do you hear the quiet trembling of doubt saying, why haven't they reached out? What if they never do? You may not speak these aloud, but your inner world shouts them. That is what the universe hears, and that is what it must reproduce. The outer world is not deaf, it is deeply attentive to your secret words. The invisible substance of creation is molded by every sentence you whisper in the privacy of your imagination. Every assumption you repeat becomes a living decree. You are always commanding, always declaring, always shaping. The question is, are you speaking as love fulfilled or as love forsaken? You see, every word carries a vibration, and every vibration summons its likeness. When you say within, my SP adores me, you summon the energy of affection. When you murmur, they never care, you summon the echo of neglect. The law does not discern good or bad, it only amplifies what you hold as true. It mirrors your belief with perfect fidelity. And so the wise one learns to guard their inner speech as a king guards the royal seal. For once the seal is stamped upon consciousness, no power on earth can break it. The spoken word of the Ong stuck lovingly in your mind. That is when it has taken root. That is when the law begins to bring it forth. For what you say in imagination is not make-believe, it is the blueprint of becoming. The unseen world is alive, listening, attentive. Every inner dialogue is a seed, and you are the soil that decides which seeds to nourish. So speak deliberately. Speak as one who already possesses what they desire. Let your inner world be filled with words of fulfillment, not lack. Perhaps you have spent days or years replaying the same inner argument. Why did they leave? What did I do wrong? Why won't they return? And life, faithful servant that it is, keeps answering with more of the same. You ask the question and the universe responds because you believe it so. But the moment you change the inner dialogue to, they love me still, they never stopped. They are drawn to me because love is all there is. Then the mirror of life begins to shimmer. The reflection starts to change. Do not underestimate the power of a single inner conversation. Many lives have turned from despair to delight through one simple shift in speech. Say within yourself, it is done. We are one in love. And repeat it until it feels like memory. When the feeling of reality enters, the outer world must bow. You may find it helpful to imagine conversations that confirm your wish fulfilled. See your SPS face, hear their tone, feel their warmth. Let them speak words of love to you in your mind and respond with joy. The imagination is not fantasy, it is the womb of creation. What begins as inner dialogue will, in its own time, become outer conversation. You are not predicting, you are decreeing. Every time you return to the inner argument of fear, you build a wall of separation. Every time you return to the inner dialogue of love, you dissolve that wall. Which voice will you feed? You cannot serve two masters. You must choose this day whom you will believe the whisper of doubt or the song of fulfillment. The voice within is the true prophet of your destiny. If it speaks peace, you will live in peace. If it speaks conflict, the outer world will obey. You have been given the divine right to command that voice. It is not your enemy, it is your instrument. Tune it to the frequency of love, and the melody of life will harmonize accordingly. In moments when fear arises, speak gently but firmly to yourself. Say, I refuse to dwell in lack. My SP and I are already united in love. Nothing can separate what consciousness has joined. Repeat it not as a chant, but as truth. Let the words become living substance. The moment you believe them, your inner world shifts. The beauty of this law is that it never fails. Every word, once accepted as true, must manifest. The only question is, how consciously are you speaking? Do you speak from fullness or from need, from faith or from fear? You will always know by the feeling it leaves behind. Love leaves peace. Doubt leaves restlessness. Choose peace again and again until it becomes the only language you speak. And when you master this art of inner dialogue, you will realize something extraordinary. Your SP was never apart from you. They have always lived in your consciousness, responding to the script you continually spoke. When you change the dialogue, you change their role. The once distant lover becomes a devoted partner, not through persuasion, but through inner command. So let your inner world be holy ground. Speak within yourself only that which you desire to see. Let every word be a blessing, every thought a seed of love. And soon your SP will arrive not as a stranger fulfilling a wish, but as a reflection of the love you have already declared real within yourself. And as that truth dawns upon you, you begin to realize something even greater, that everything and everyone in your world is but yourself pushed out. Every face you behold, every word spoken to you, every circumstance that meets you in the outer world is nothing but a reflection of the conversations, beliefs, and assumptions you have held in the silence of your heart. There is no other. There never was. The entire drama of life plays within the consciousness of one being your own I am. When you truly grasp this, you will cease to struggle against appearances. You will no longer plead, chase, or wait for someone outside of you to change, because you will know there is no outside. All movement happens within. What you assume of another, what you believe about your SP, is exactly what they must show you. They can only act the part you have assigned them in your inner theater. If you have cast them as distant, indifferent, or uncertain, they can only mirror that. But if you now choose to see them as loving, devoted, and eager, then the play must shift accordingly. Life is an infinite stage, and you are both playwright and actor. You write the script in imagination and then step upon the scene to live it out. But here lies the wonder: you can rewrite the play at any moment. You can tear down old scenes and bring new ones into being simply by revising the imaginal act. Nothing is fixed, nothing is final, unless you decree it so. When I say everyone is you pushed out, I do not mean this metaphorically, I mean it literally. Consciousness is one, and it manifests in infinite variety. The same life animating you animates your SP, your friends, your family, even the stranger on the street. They appear to be separate, but separation is an illusion born of identification with form. Beneath the veil of personality, we are one mind dreaming many dreams. And so, to change another, you need not touch them, speak to them, or convince them. You have only to change your concept of them within. Suppose you have been hurt or ignored by the one you love. Instead of replaying that scene in memory, close your eyes and rewrite it. See them as tender. See them apologizing. See them yearning for you. Hear their voice filled with affection. Feel the warmth of reconciliation. That scene becomes so real that when you open your eyes, the outer world feels like the shadow, and the inner world feels like the living truth. That is creation in motion. Your imagination is not a weak substitute for reality. It is reality in its causal form. The outer world is the fruit. Imagination is the seed. Change the seed, and the fruit must alter. The wise never fight with the outer condition. They return to the cause and rearrange the seed pattern in consciousness. They dwell in the end, and by doing so, they summon the visible proof. Let us take a simple example. You desire your SP to reach out to you, to express love freely, to pursue you with affection. But in your current state, you may be thinking, they are distant. They don't care. They've moved on. Those words, those feelings are creative decrees. They send forth invisible messengers who build the corresponding scene. But if you now decide to say within, they adore me. They can't stop thinking about me. They are drawn to me as iron to magnet. Then you have changed the script. Keep that assumption alive enough for a minute, not for an hour, but until it feels like truth hand. Watch as the play adjusts itself. You need not force the outer world to move. It will move of its own accord, guided by the unseen hand of your inner conviction. The phone will ring, the message will appear, the meeting will occur not because you chased it, but because you became the vibration of its fulfillment. All movement happens by the law of correspondence. The inner and outer must align. They cannot remain discordant. If ever you doubt this law, look back upon your life and you will see its perfect precision. Every joy, every sorrow, every meeting and parting all trace back to an imaginal act, a belief held long enough to crystallize. You may have forgotten the moment you planted the seed, but the harvest always reveals it. This is why it is said, judge not by appearances. What you see now is only the residue of old assumptions. To alter the scene, you must assume a new reality and persist until it hardens into fact. You are never a victim of another's will. You are only a victim of your own forgetfulness. Forgetfulness of who you are. Forgetfulness that the power that formed galaxies listens to the quiet whisper of your inner word. The moment you remember your true identity, all resistance dissolves. You no longer seek from without what you can create from within. You stop asking when it will happen and start feeling that it already has. And when you live in that feeling of the wish fulfilled, the world rushes to confirm it. The outer scene rearranges itself as naturally as dawn follows night. Your SP, who once seemed distant, will feel the pull of your new assumption without knowing why. They will think it is their own idea, their own desire. But you will know it was born from the invisible union within. Many struggle because they watch the outer world too closely. They plant the seed and then dig it up to see if T has grown. But imagination works in silence. You cannot see the roots of your belief, yet they are spreading deep within the soil of consciousness. Trust the process. Water it daily with faith, with gratitude, with repetition of loving inner talk, and in due season it must bear fruit. If you find your mind drifting back to doubt, gently bring it home. Don't scold yourself, simply remind the mind who it truly serves. Say within, no, I live in the end. My SP and I are already one. Love has fulfilled itself. Feel it, even if for a moment. One moment of true conviction outweighs hours of anxious thought. You are training your consciousness to remain loyal to the unseen rather than to appearances. And as this practice deepens, you will notice something miraculous. Your SP will begin to behave in ways that reflect your inner assumption. Yes, but more than that, you will feel whole again. You will realize that the love you sought was never missing. It was buried beneath layers of fear and doubt. When you speak from the awareness of unity, love flows freely, unconditionally, without effort. You no longer crave proof, for you are the proof. Remember, nothing changes until you do. The outer world bends to the image you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as unloved, the world must echo it. If you see yourself as adored, desired, and chosen, the echo changes instantly. You can only meet that which you are conscious of being. This is not arrogance, it is divine law. To assume love is to magnetize it. To assume separation is to prolong it. So take your attention off the absence and place it upon fulfillment. When you walk, walk as one who is loved. When you sleep, drift into the feeling that your SP lies beside you, breathing the same rhythm of peace. When you wake, give thanks that it is already done. These imaginal acts are not pretend, they are creative commands issued to the subconscious mind, which never questions, never argues, but simply obeys. Do not let the outer senses deceive you. They show only the afterimage of what once was. The power is always in the now, in the unseen realm of imagination. If today you assume your SP loves you deeply, even though yesterday they seemed cold, then today you have sown a new seed. The harvest may take a day, a week, or a month, but it must come, for the law never fails. Persist, therefore, with joy, not effort. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is a secret door through which your desire enters the world of fact. Live there, dwell there, speak from there, and life will unfold to match it. But when you change within, everything without must bow to your new assumption, because there is only one consciousness expressing itself through infinite forms, and that consciousness is you. And as you continue to live in this sacred awareness, something begins to unfold that leaves no doubt about the power you hold. The outer world, which once appeared to move of its own accord, starts to dance to the silent rhythm of your assumption. You witness people, circumstances, and even time itself bending gently to the inner image you sustain. The words spoken within you begin to echo through the actions of others, and what once seemed coincidence now feels like orchestration. The invisible becomes visible. The unseen command takes form. Your SP, that beloved reflection of your inner being, is not a stranger moving by chance through the corridors of your life. They are a mirror of your consciousness, animated by the same life that breathes through you. Every thought you hold of them, every inner conversation you repeat, sends forth a silent vibration that shapes their actions and emotions. They are moved not by logic, not by will, but by the pulse of your inner decree. You do not force them, you move them through love, through certainty, through the invisible language of assumption. When you understand this, you realize there is no need to wait for their change, for the change begins within you. Your SP cannot resist the power of your love when that love is no longer tangled with fear. When you love with the quiet authority of knowing that all things are obedient to consciousness, then even the most stubborn resistance dissolves like mist before the morning sun. You have no rivals, for no one can occupy the space of your assumption but you. The role you assign to your SP in imagination becomes their natural behavior in the outer world. Perhaps they have been distant, silent, or unresponsive. Perhaps you have watched the phone, hoping for a message that never came. But I tell you, the message is born in imagination before it ever arrives on your screen. When you hear their loving voice in the inner world and feel their affection as though it were real now, the vibration of that act must call forth its physical counterpart. It cannot remain unseen, for imagination is the womb of creation. Your SP, like all others, is compelled to play the part you have written in consciousness. The secret lies in knowing that there is no separation between you and the one you love. The same power animating your heart animates theirs. You and your SP are not two minds battling for control. You are one consciousness playing two roles in the divine drama of love. What you assume of them, they feel. What you decree within, they, although their outer mind may not comprehend why. They are drawn irresistibly by the invisible magnet of your faith. But faith is not begging. Faith is ownership. It is the quiet certainty that the thing desired is already yours. To have faith is to rest in possession, not to strive for it. When you walk in this awareness, you stop questioning how or when your SP will return. You simply know that they must, because love has already united you in the unseen. The outer world has no choice but to conform. Let me show you how the divine obedience of your SP works. Suppose you decide tonight that you are loved, chosen, and adored. You close your eyes and feel your SPS arms around you. Why, hear their voice telling you how deeply they love you. You feel the warmth of their presence so vividly that you no longer miss them. At that moment, the law is set into motion. Your SP, wherever they may be, begins to feel a stirring in impulse, a thought, a memory of you that will not fade. They may resist it for a time, but they cannot escape it, for it is born from the higher realm of consciousness. They might call it intuition, fate, or coincidence, but you will know it was divine obedience to your imaginal act. The outer personality of your SP is but the visible mask. The real being behind that mask is one with you in consciousness, and consciousness answers only to itself. So when you, as the operant power, declare love fulfilled, your SP must respond it because you force them to, but because the divine law of unity commands it. This is not manipulation. This is divine harmony. You are not bending on others' will. You are awakening the deeper truth that there is only one will of love, the will of your higher self, which seeks only expression. When you assume that your SP adores you, you are not forcing them to feel it. You are revealing the feeling that was always there, buried beneath layers of fear and illusion. Love cannot be created. It can only be unveiled. So when you move in imagination, do so with tenderness, not demand. Speak to your SP within as one who already possesses the love they seek. Whisper to them words of calm assurance. You love me deeply. You think of me constantly. You cannot resist the peace you feel in my presence. Say it not as wishful thinking, but as divine decree. And then drop it, let it go, knowing it is already done. The moment you release it, the unseen hand goes to work, arranging people, places, and events to deliver the visible reflection of your inner command. You will begin to notice subtle signs, at first a song, a message, a dream, a familiar number appearing again and again. These are the ripples before the wave. They are not coincidences, they are confirmations that the law is moving. When you see them, smile, give thanks, and stay faithful. The outer manifestation is already forming, even if the senses cannot yet behold it. And when your SP finally reaches out, it will seem natural, effortless, as though no miracle occurred at all. They may say, I don't know why, but I couldn't stop thinking about you. Or something told me to call. You will hear it and smile within, knowing that something was your imaginal act clothed in the language of the world. The divine law works so perfectly that it hides its tracks in normalcy. You see, your SPS obedience is not to your ego, but to the higher command of your assumption. Every being, knowingly or unknowingly, plays their part to fulfill your inner state. This is why you must never dwell in fear, never assume rejection, never claim to be unwanted, because the world and all within it will rise up to affirm it. But if you persist in love, if you dare to believe that your desire is already fulfilled, then every actor in your play, including your will, act out that script. There is no need to worry about what they think or how they will respond. They cannot think or feel apart from the vibration you impress upon them. The outer mind may seem separate, but beneath it lies the one consciousness that binds all hearts. You and your SP are threads woven into the same fabric. Pull the thread of assumption and the entire design shifts. So, when you feel fear creeping in, return to love. Love is the language creation understands. Fear repels, but love commands. Love spoken from authority is irresistible. When you declare they are mine in divine love, you are not claiming ownership, you are affirming unity. You are declaring the truth that separation never existed. And when you live in that truth, you walk differently. You no longer chase, because you know they are already running toward you in the unseen. You no longer seek signs, because you are the sign. You move, speak, and breathe as one who has found rest in divine control. Every heartbeat, every breath carries the silent decree of union fulfilled. The world becomes your echo, repeating back the song you hum in imagination. Your SP cannot resist this power, because it is not human power, it is divine. It is the power that spoke worlds into being, the same power that whispers your name within their soul. You are not separate forces colliding, you are one life remembering itself in love. The instant you feel it has done, the play must reflect it. For there is only one author, one dreamer, and one command, love fulfilled now. And as you rest in this knowing, the struggle falls away. You begin to see that love was never meant to be chased, never meant to be begged for, never meant to be proven. Love is not a pursuit, it is a possession. It is the natural state of one who remembers who they are. When you stand in the authority of that remembrance, when you dwell in the feeling of being the chosen one, adored and complete, the universe itself begins to bow to your vibration. Every force that once seemed against you starts to move in your favor, not because you commanded it with words, but because your being became the command itself. This is what I call divine control, the effortless rule of one who no longer tries to control anything. The one who knows that all power is within, has no need to struggle for dominion without. Divine control is not force, it is flow. It is the quiet majesty of knowing that the inner world governs the outer. You are not wrestling with life, you are directing it with silent certainty. Your SP, your circumstances, even time and chance all bend to the rhythm of your assumption. When you finally cease the restless striving, when you stop looking for evidence and simply become the evidence, the world around you becomes pliable. It moves with ease, rearranging itself as though drawn by an unseen magnet. You will stand in awe as doors open where walls once stood, as words are spoken you once longed to hear, as faces light up with the reflection of your inner peace. The effort was never required, only alignment was. You were never waiting for your SP to change you, or waiting to awaken to the truth that they already had within you. The power that governs creation has no rival. It needs no help, no strategy, no manipulation. It needs only your consent. The moment you consent to the feeling of love fulfilled, you become the vessel of divine order. Everything and everyone begins to move under your unseen direction. Your SP, though they appear to act of their own free will, are simply playing the role your consciousness assigned them. They speak the lines you have rehearsed in imagination. They take the actions you have decreed in the silence of belief. This is not control born of ego. It is control born of unity. For there is only one being dreaming this dream, and that being is love itself. You see, the universe is not testing you, it is teaching you mastery. Each delay, each silence, each unanswered call is not punishment, it is invitation. an invitation to step deeper into your own power, to remember that divine control operates only through stillness. You are not asked to chase your SP, you are asked to embody the love that calls them home. The moment you embody it, resistance dies. For resistance cannot exist in the presence of wholeness. When you live from divine control, you speak differently. You no longer say, I hope they return. You say, they are mine in divine love. You no longer ask, when will it happen? You say, it is done. You no longer wonder, do they think of me? You say, they cannot stop thinking of me, for love has already claimed its own. And because these words are not hollow affirmations, but living convictions, the outer world must reflect them. It is law. Everything in this universe operates by vibration, and vibration follows assumption. The stronger your inner knowing, the more naturally the outer aligns. This is why those who chase rarely receive, for their vibration declares lack. But those who dwell in fulfillment, those who love without fear, radiate a signal the universe cannot deny. Your SP is drawn to that signal as surely as the tide obeys the pull of the moon. They feel the peace in your energy, the certainty in your silence, the confidence in your love, and they come home, not by persuasion, but by gravity. This is the rampage of divine control, silent storm that changes everything without a word spoken. You do not shout, you whisper within. You do not chase, you attract. You don't wait, you live as though it were already done. And in doing so, you activate the highest law of creation, as within, so without. If ever you feel tempted to doubt, remind yourself that the outer world is always late. It is a delayed echo of what you have already assumed. Do not confuse the silence of today with the absence of manifestation. The seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. Trust the unseen. Trust the divine order moving beneath the surface. Your SP cannot escape your assumption any more than the seed can refuse to grow. What you claim in imagination is already taking form in the invisible realm, awaiting only your continued faith to solidify into fact. And you will know divine control has taken hold when peace becomes your natural state. You will feel no urgency, no worry, no chasteningly calm certainty. That calm is not apathy, it is power contained. It is the quiet confidence of one who has spoken the word and knows it cannot return void. When you live in that calm, your SP feels it too. They sense the shift. They feel the magnetic stillness that surrounds you. It calls them, heals them, and draws them near. You may find that people around you begin to change as well. Strangers treat you with kindness, opportunities open easily, synchronicities multiply. This is the sign that divine control is radiating through every area of your life. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are creating it in real time. Every thought is a decree, every feeling a command, and the universe, ever obedient, rushes to fulfill it. So when you think of your SP, do not think of them as distant. Think of them as already yours, already near, already expressing the love that exists eternally between you. When you speak to them in imagination, speak as one who has nothing to prove, nothing to fear, nothing to lose. Speak from the fullness of having, speak from the heart of God. And as you do, the world will conform to your word, because it always has. It was only waiting for you to notice. Divine control is not loud. It is not frantic. It is the still voice within that says, be still and know. When you abide in that knowing, you need no signs, no proof, no reassurance. You simply live as though it were already complete. Because creation is finished, it is. You are merely walking through the shadow of what has already been decreed. So release the need to force, to worry, to measure time. Time is the servant of imagination, not its master. The moment you command in love, time begins to fold itself to deliver your desire in perfect sequence. Whether it arrives in a day or a month is irrelevant, for you are already living it now. The feeling is the fact. The outer must conform, and it will, precisely as you believe. And when that day comes, and it will, when your SP stands before you, their eyes filled with the love you always knew was there, you will not be surprised. You will not call it a miracle. You will simply smile, because you will remember that this scene was written long ago in the theater of your imagination. You will know that you never truly waited, you only awakened. You never commanded another, you commanded yourself. And by aligning with love, you align the entire universe to reflect it. This is the secret of divine control to command through love, not fear. To rule not by force, but by faith. To know that creation moves when you do, that your speed, your world, your destiny are all obedient servants of your inner conviction. And when you stand in that conviction, the universe bows, the heart obeys, and love fulfills itself in perfect divine order. When you finally understand that imagination is creation and love is divine law, you stop chasing and start commanding. Your SP, your reality, your entire world move in obedience to the vibration of your inner faith. The power that forms galaxies responds instantly to the quiet conviction of one who loves from certainty, not fear. This speech reminds you that the greatest control is surrender to divine order, the knowing that what you desire is already done.